By hour 72 without sleep, something inside your skull switches sides. It stops protecting your brain and starts eating it. Not figuratively. Cell by cell, your own maintenance crew turns into a demolition crew, chewing through the wiring that makes you, you. So what exactly is doing the eating? Why does your body let it happen? And how long do you actually have before the damage stops being temporary? Most of us treat sleep like a phone charger. Plug in for a few hours, top up the battery, unplug, and go. That idea is almost completely wrong. Sleep is not downtime. It is the only window your brain gets to clean up after itself. And that window is not optional. In 1894, a Russian physician named Marie de Manicine kept a litter of young dogs awake around the clock to find out what would happen. They died within 4 to 5 days. Total starvation, no food at all, takes 3 weeks or longer to kill the same animal. Going without sleep kills faster than going without food. That single fact kept scientists awake for the next 130 years, trying to figure out why. Hour 24. You feel at first as static, not exhaustion. Reaction time slows. Your hands feel less precise than they should. Inside your skull, your neurons are burning through adenosine triphosphate, the fuel your brain runs on, faster than your body can replace it. Hour 48. In 1964, a 17-year-old named Randy Gardner hit this exact mark during the longest documented sleepless stretch in history. He could no longer identify a comb by touch alone with his eyes closed. His vision blurred into something close to astigmatism. He tried to repeat a simple tongue twister and failed completely. None of that is random. As ATP burns off, a byproduct called adenosine floods the space between your neurons. Adenosine is a brake pedal. It is your brain's own chemical begging you to stop. Ignore it long enough, and the begging turns into something else entirely. Here's the mechanism in cold numbers. In a brain that's had a full night's rest, a class of cells called astrocytes are already nibbling away at about 5.7% of your synapses. That's normal. That's healthy. It's how your brain prunes old wiring it doesn't need anymore. Push your brain past one sleepless night, and that number jumps to 8.4%. Push it to 5 days of restricted sleep, and it explodes to 13.5%. Your astrocytes don't just work harder, they change targets entirely, going after your biggest, busiest, most structurally important synapses first. The way a demolition crew tears out load-bearing walls, because that's where the most material is. And astrocytes don't stay alone for long. Microglia, the brain's internal immune system, make up roughly 15% of all the cells in your skull. Under normal conditions, they patrol quietly, clearing out plaques and dead material. Under chronic sleep loss, they stop being careful. They flood the tissue with inflammation, the same kind researchers find in early-stage Alzheimer's disease. Your brain isn't just losing furniture anymore. It's catching fire. Hour 120. Gardner started seeing things that weren't there. He looked at a street sign and saw a person standing in it. For a stretch of time, he became convinced he was a professional football player. None of that was random malfunction. His thalamus, the part of the brain that sorts what's real from what's dreamed, had stopped doing its job. The wall between being awake and dreaming wasn't separating anything anymore. Push past that point, and the body stops just confusing reality. It starts dying. In a rare genetic disorder called fatal familial insomnia, misfolded proteins destroy this exact part of the brain permanently, and every documented case has ended the same way. Death within 18 months. No exceptions on record. Ordinary sleep deprivation, taken far enough, produces the same final stage. The hypothalamus loses the ability to control body temperature. It can plummet nearly 6 degrees Celsius or spike into dangerous fever, sometimes within the same hour. The heart races without reason. Blood pressure climbs with nothing to climb for. Doctors call this state agrypnia excitata, awake, agitated, and dying, all at once. Randy Gardner himself made it to 264 hours, 11 days, before anyone let him sleep. Near the end, researchers asked him to count backward from 100 by sevens. He got to 65 and stopped. He told them he had completely forgotten what he was even doing. Here's where it all lands. By the time a sleep-deprived brain reaches total collapse, it has measurably eaten its own wiring, flooded itself with the same inflammation seen in Alzheimer's, lost the ability to tell dreams from reality, and lost control of its own temperature and heartbeat. The fix for every stage of that is shockingly simple. None of it happens to a brain that gets to sleep. The maintenance crew only turns into a demolition crew when it's denied its scheduled shift for days, not hours. Sleep was never the lazy option. It's the only thing standing between you and a brain that starts dismantling itself just to survive one more hour awake. But there's one version of this where sleep isn't a choice at all. A genetic mutation exists that permanently shuts off a person's ability to enter deep sleep, and it carries a death sentence within 18 months of the first symptom every time. That's a paradox for another logic nook.